Welcome to So What's It Actually About? I'm your host, Margie McKechnie, and I, along with my wide array of guests, hope to help you better understand and weather the wonderful world of actuarial science. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm joined by Rivaj. Rivaj was actually my tutor when I was in first year, and that's how we made a connection. He was incredibly kind to me, and all these years later, I remember that kindness. So thank you so much for joining us. Can you just give us a little bit of a background as to who you are, the space that you're now in as an actuary, and why you became an actuary?
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you after all these years. It seems like just yesterday that I was tutoring you in first year and showing you the timeline for math.
I know. How crazy.
But it's been quite a long time since that happened, and it's amazing to see your journey and my journey from that point forward. So I am currently a lecturer at Wits University. Here for 7 years now. I really enjoy the teaching aspect of it. Prior to this, I worked in corporate for a few years, and prior to that, I lectured as well. Just not at that.
So very passionate about education.
Yeah.
And from the receiving end of it, you are very good at educating.
I've always enjoyed interacting with people and making a difference and seeing that difference. Because when I see my students qualified and out of university,
it's very rewarding.
It is. It's very rewarding, and it's happy. It makes you feel happy as a person. That you've made a difference in somebody's life.
Very much so. Very much so. And tell me, what are the areas that you specialized in? So you qualify now.
Yes.
So what are the areas you specialized in, and why did you choose those areas over other options?
Okay, so I specialized in life insurance and the retirement matters field.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked in the retirement space for a few years when I went in corporate. I really enjoyed it, but my passion was always teaching. So
similar to me.
Yes. Yeah. So it's something that just comes naturally, and that's where I thought I could make the biggest difference. In terms of life insurance, I've always enjoyed the content and the material. It's the most traditional of the actuarial fields. And it teaches you a lot. The skills that you learn in that space, you can apply in every other space as well.
Yeah, very much so. And tell me, why did you choose actuarial science over other options? I mean, you could have done anything.
So back then, I didn't know much about actuarial science.
I mean, we never do, right?
That is cool. Like, you're deciding what to do, then your teacher say, okay, you're good at math, so you're good with numbers. Why don't you do that?
Yeah, standard.
Exactly. So I said, okay, let me give it a try. So I came to the open day when Wits had an open day.
Oh, fantastic.
And I attended the talk by Steve.
Yes.
And I just found it very interesting.
Yeah.
Let me just go for it. And no second thought.
Incredible.
So even when I applied to university, I only applied to one university.
Oh, sure. You were that set thing. Oh, wow. You were very set. Okay, sure. That's amazing.
I was quite happy with my choice. Like, during the course of my undergrad, I questioned my decision quite a lot.
Yeah. I think every student gets to that stage, right?
Because you're not used to coming to university and failing a test.
No, and badly sometimes, you know.
I remember I failed my first stats test.
I'm aware. Didn't we all fail? Oh my word. And you were like a straight A student, right?
Exactly.
That's cool. Yeah.
You're not used to getting anything under 80 to 90%.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you come in, this is a big shock to your systems. Then you doubt yourself.
No, you do.
Then you're not.
Or can I do this? Like, am I actually able to meet the standard that's required?
Exactly. And then now when I see the first years that come in, and when they're performing badly and stuff, you can relate to them.
Yeah.
And you know that you sat in their position.
Yes.
So when somebody is doing bad, you can give them good advice because you know how they're feeling.
Yeah.
You know their journey, where they're coming from, and what they need to do. So you just need to motivate them.
Yeah, which is exactly what you did for me, actually, all those years ago. And I'll never forget that kindness. I think, and I think often as teachers and lecturers, you don't get that recognition because you don't know the difference that you make. Yeah. And in hindsight, You probably don't see it, but it was pivotal for me. I mean, at the end of first year, I was in that space where I was like, I don't think this is for me. And now I'm qualified and can't think of being anything other than an actuary and a teacher.
Yeah.
But it makes an incredible difference. So, yeah, thank you for that again.
So I get a lot of students like that coming throughout first, second, third year. Even some common students, they come to my office and say, "We're not doing well.
Yeah.
Can you please help us?
Yeah.
Please advise us."
Yeah.
And when they leave my office, they are in a much better headspace.
Yeah.
So they would understand better. They would put some remedies into place to help them out of their situation.
Yeah.
Or if they're stressed. Like just a week or two ago, before my business applications exam, on the same day, I had a student coming in and say that they are really stressed, they're anxious, they're having diarrhea and throwing up.
I know
what to do because of the nerves of because it's an exemption exam.
Yeah, of course.
I sat them down. I explained to them what to do, how to be calm, how to handle the exam, tackle the exam. They were fine during the exam. I checked on them a few times in the exam. They said they're fine. And when I marked the exam, I could see it as well.
Yeah.
They did quite well because they were relaxed. They were calm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think something that we're trying to do in these podcasts is also to unpack those exemption papers. I mean, for the audience, exemption papers are basically you get exempted from writing board exams and you have to write a number of board exams in order to qualify as an actuary, right? Now you obviously lecture a number of board exams, but today I want to specifically look at A112 and A113. Obviously, there's specific codes for South Africa, but that's the business economics and the business finance courses. So in your view, why is it important for actuaries to do Economics 1 and to understand that sort of micro and macroeconomic environment? Why is that important for an actuary?
So economics is quite important to understand how the world works.
Yeah,
right?
And decision-making, right? Yeah.
To see where do you fit into the economy? Where does your business fit in, or the institution that you're going to be working for, or your own business that you would want to run with it? How does it fit into the bigger picture?
Yes.
Everything relate to one another.
Yeah.
So whether it's related to currency exchange or interest rates, how does everything affect? How is it determined?
Yeah.
So those kinds of things impact all your business decisions, right from your small businesses all the way through to your large corporations and pension funds and investment bank, investment companies. So it affects everyone.
Yeah.
So having a good understanding of the concepts in there is really important. And it relates quite well to your A113 subject as well, which is business finance.
Yes, which is a much more senior subject. I mean, that's only generally in fourth year actuarial that you engage with that.
Yeah, we do that in second.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking about actuarial risk management. All the codes are all mush in my mind. I hear you. Yeah.
The A113 relates quite well to your A112 subject.
Okay.
So the A113 is more about an individual business, how does it run, how does it function, all the decision making that happens in the business.
So it's the business finance. What is that one with has a bit of sort of like corporate governance and how like projects are appraised a bit? Is that focus? Okay.
Okay. With the accounting and how do you read your balance sheet and your statements and all of that. So that's more about how do you run your business efficiently, successfully. What do you do? How does it relate to your different investment decisions that you make, your budgeting decisions?
Yes.
And all that fits into your A112 subject, which is the economic subject.
Yes.
So your A113 is more on your individual business, and in A112 takes that further into how your business fits into the bigger picture.
Yes.
So it's like all these little pieces of puzzles are your individual businesses and institutions, and how do they all fit together to form our economy?
Yeah.
So they relate quite well. And it's good to have an understanding of your individual concepts as well as what the bigger picture is.
Yeah, very much so. And it's not as technical. I mean, the business ecos and the business finance, like obviously there's an element of, there's a lot of definitions and understanding sort of, what is specific mechanics we're talking about. But it isn't as calculation based as some of the other actuarial subjects.
Yes, that is correct. So it's more theoretical. And how do you actually understand the concept and theories behind all of these ideas?
I think also what's quite interesting, often at the beginning of subjects, they talk about how they're interconnected, the other sort of interconnected to other board exams. And I think also business ecos and business finance are really important when you consider your fourth year subjects, where you're thinking about actuarial risk management and you're thinking about your different specialities, because all of those are a lot more strategy based and understanding your environment and that sort of thing. Do you want to speak to maybe that in a little bit more detail?
So it's quite important for those understanding those concepts in these foundation subjects, A112, A113, because when you meet them again, you would meet a lot of the concepts again in your A3 level.
Yeah.
The actuarial risk management. And during the business applications exam that was a few weeks ago. So one of the questions I had was on calculating cost of capital.
Yes.
How does it relate to the business?
Sorry to stop you there. Business applications, is that a 113?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, just to position. Okay.
So business applications is part of the A113 subject.
Okay. We're seeing.
And so one of the other invigilators was one of the A311 lecturers.
Okay.
And she had a look at this question and she says, this is what she takes the honor students through A311.
Yeah.
And she actually enjoyed looking at that paper to see how some of the concepts are taken a step further in the A311 subject. So it's actually quite good to have that understanding when you do encounter it in your A113 subject.
Yeah.
And also, like, you shouldn't see the subjects as individual subjects.
Yeah. Such an important point.
Like, a lot of people just see them as silos, but they're not. Like, they should be seen as pieces of puzzle that fit together to form one bigger picture.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't see.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you say that, because obviously I'm in the academic space as well. And in lecturing, I always say to my students, you need to build an ecosystem of understanding, because these things do interconnect. And if you don't see the interconnectivity, you then lose the learning, because you don't know where you need to fit it in, But these things, like when interest rates change, then obviously you're looking at bonds and there's like various things that interact. But if you don't think about these things all together, you actually don't see the complexity of the picture that as actuaries you need to actually decipher and be able to say, okay, these are the decisions, or these are the risks, or these are the things we need to manage, given the role that you have as an actuary. So yeah, very, very interesting. I think it's difficult though as an actuarial student, because you just don't have that exposure yet.
Yes, that is true. And even for the students as well, I tell them when they're attempting an exam, right? So during the course of the term or the semester, they may do topics in isolation.
Yes.
But at the end, they need to put all that information together to form the bigger picture. Because in an exam situation, you will not be tested on just one concept or one chapter.
No,
You're going to have to bring together all the different ideas and concepts that you've learned to provide a holistic solution to whatever situation you were given in your exam.
Yeah.
And I tell them, to get the best mark for that exam, you need to look at how your different concepts fit together so that you understand where one piece relates to another.
Yeah.
And by understanding what's the link between the various sections, topics in that subject, you can produce an excellent exam solution to whatever you're presented with. Yeah, it comes with that understanding of what the bigger picture is.
Exactly. And I think that's also an interesting comment when you consider those very technical subjects. Because I think, often in the technical subjects, students learn what they need to do. So they learn the recipe, if you want to call it that way, or the process. But then when it comes to those interpretation questions as to like, what's the decision that you now need to make based on this calculation, they often don't know what it is, or they advise incorrectly because they don't actually understand what the calculation is informing. And the calculation is not necessarily what's important. It's the outworking of the calculation, the ramifications, the decisions that you make on that. And I think that's why when I see students, come in first year and they're like, oh, I'm good at maths, I'll be a great actuary. I'm like, no, that's not necessarily the best determiner of it. You need to be able to explain what it is that you're doing. And I think that's quite a rare skill. The students sort of take a while to develop. I think I took a long time to develop it, definitely.
Yeah, so what we try to do is from first year level. So I try to get the students to write a lot in their exams.
That's great.
So I will give them a calculation, but then the follow-up question is explain your result.
Yeah.
Comment on your result.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you see? What's the impact of a result
exactly
on a certain situation?
Yeah.
So I also give them like